What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. We are almost to the weekend. We are on Hump Day, man. So I hope the rest of this week continues to go well for you guys. If it hasn't gone well, I hope it gets better. You know, it's positive vibes only coming from this side, man. You know what today's video is? It's the NBA midweek check-in. Now, cut me some slack here. I know it's later on a Wednesday. The games have already started. Um, Probably it's right now. I'm filming this at 6:30. I filmed 4 other videos tonight, so give me a little bit of break on some of the time. I'm trying my best to get content out for you guys. Um, but even though it's a little bit later, most of the episode is going to be about the in-season tournament. We have a bit later on 2 games that I want you guys to keep up with. I think they'll be fun and entertaining, and an otherwise lackluster slate. But let's start off with the in-season tournament. Obviously, the Celtics lost to the Pacers on Monday night, and then the Kings lost to the Pelicans. Both entertaining games. Tyrese Halliburton finally got his TNT game, his nationally televised game, and he took advantage of it. He balled out. I watched this game and probably turned it on and off 4 different times just because every time the Celtics would kind of come back, he would hit a dagger of a three, or he'd make a crazy move and just get the crowd involved and super hyped up. And it was just hard for the Celtics to win that game. And that's going to happen sometimes in the season. And, you know, you got to give the Indiana Pacers credit. They came in to a game where many people didn't think they'd win, and they won. It's just as simple as that. They outplayed the Celtics on Monday night. Both the Celtics and the Kings lost by 10 points on Monday night. Falling to the Pelicans was the Kings. The matchup for the Western Conference will be Lakers and Pelicans. We'll talk about the Lakers-Suns game and then the Knicks-Bucks game here in a minute. Just kind of recapping the Eastern Conference bracket and what we saw on Tuesday. Obviously, with the Kings-Pelicans game, the leading scorer for the Kings was De'Aaron Fox. The leading scorer for the Pelicans was Brandon Ingram. They both dropped 30. Really fun, entertaining game. I won't lie. I wasn't able to stay up the full time for the game, so had to watch the highlights. And it was, from what I can tell, a very fun, very entertaining game. The crowd was into it, very similar to the Indiana game, and so for the first ever quarterfinals, I think it was a very big success for the NBA, and it was very fun to watch. It very much felt like a early playoff game, which is really fun to see. Both the games were really fun and entertaining. Now let's move on to Wednesday night. Wednesday night was Knicks Bucks and Lakers Suns. Both of these games very entertaining. We're going to dive a little bit into each one, starting with the Knicks Bucks. Julius Randle dropped 41 points in a loss, which is a bit surprising to me. We talked about how if Julius Randle was on, the team tends to win. That's no secret. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is going to do what he does. He's a very consistent player, very good player. The lackluster part of that team is Julius Randle. When he's on, they're very hard to beat. I think this is a bit of a bigger win than some might think for the Bucks. I think this might be a staple win. When they look back onto the season, they go, this is where we really turned it on. I think that it might have not been the best game for them, but we know how the Knicks play basketball. They're a very tough-minded defensive team. They're just scrappy. They continue to play the ball the right way. And so I think the Bucks might later on in the season look back to see, okay, this is where we finally maybe not fully figured everything out, but we started to kind of get a grasp. Giannis played. Obviously, he dropped, 35 points. He was their leading scorer. So overall, very fun matchup, even though we thought it would be more of a defensive matchup. Overall, it was a very fun game. Let's move on to Suns Lakers. It's always fun watching 2 greats of the game go at it. I think I really enjoyed the most part. Once again, same situation with the Kings and Pelicans game. I got to get up at 7 a.m. every morning, and I work till 4:35, just after actually working and then getting home and writing down videos and all this stuff. Not complaining because I love it, but I do get tired. You know, you got to sleep at some point. And so typically with the later on games, I watch about the first quarter, maybe the bulk of the second quarter, and then after that, I can't do it. I'm tired. I need sleep. So what I do is I wake up and I either watch them while I'm on, or not while I'm on the way to work. While I get a break at work, or when I come home and I start the film, I'll watch the highlights. So that way I have an idea of what went on. Obviously, in the age of social media, I'm able to keep up with that as well. Any key moments, any big missed calls that people think happened, So I feel like I'm very able to get a lot of the information put together without fully watching the game, even though I still believe that watching the game, you get the full experience and it's better. Just unfortunately with the later games and certain schedule things right now, I can't do it. But obviously, in the last Suns Lakers game we talked about, LeBron and KD the same amount of points, and it was really fun to watch these two all-time greats go back and forth. This time it was eerily similar. They both dropped 31. They were both their team's leading scorers, and the Lakers moved on this time instead of the Suns. Very fun, very entertaining game. Felt like a playoff game. Same sentiments as what we said for the Monday night games. Very fun. The crowd felt like they were into it. More importantly, the players felt like they were into it. It was a really fun, really successful evening, I believe, for the NBA. And I'm looking forward to, as we go forward, even though the Celtics aren't in it, I do believe that this could be something that we look on 10, 12, 15 years later and look at and go, who won the in-season tournament that year? That might be a big deal in the coming years as to who won it, who didn't win it, and accolades and different things like that. Obviously, in the basketball community, we look at accolades a lot. It is kind of the thing that determines in all the sports really, but really feels more heavy in basketball. Like how many finals MVPs did you have? How many MVPs? How many rings? And so I think this might be something a little bit later on that we look at as a very serious accolade as opposed to just a throwaway award and championship. So I think that on, I believe, Thursday is when the finals games will be played. The official matchups will be Knicks, I believe, at Pacers because they are the higher seed, and Pelicans at Kings. I might be wrong on where the games are played at, but those are the official matchups. I believe they play Thursday, obviously, with the Eastern Conference matchup being the earlier game, and the Western Conference is the later game. Typical, just how it works out. And so I look forward to seeing these games. My official prediction would be the Milwaukee Bucks move on and the Los Angeles Lakers moves on. But as we know, I went pretty much 0-4 during the quarterfinals, so that doesn't mean much what I think is going to happen. Those are just my predictions off of face value. I haven't really dug into the matchups. To be honest, though, I could see the Pacers winning this all. They're just such a fast-paced offensive team. That's something we've heard all season from them, from the analysts that have watched them. But until you actually sit down and you're like, oh crap, like Tyrese Halliburton has the ball on the other end of the floor and he takes two dribbles. He's at the half court line. Two passes are made. They've got a wide open 3-point shot. Like they play offensive basketball insane. Now, obviously, the defense is where they're hurt, but they score so much sometimes that defense almost doesn't even matter, which seems crazy to say. But they're doing it. I mean, they're doing it. It's been really fun. It was really fun to watch them on Monday night, even though they beat my team. You got to give credit where credit is due. And so I do believe that they have a legit shot to win it. I don't know how much they are a contending team down the stretch of the season. We will have to wait and see. Defense will obviously bite them at some point if they don't pick it up on that end of the ball. But man, I I really feel like the Pacers could win it, but also it's hard to bet against Giannis. On the Western Conference side, Pelicans, Lakers, I do think the Lakers win it. I think LeBron wins everything. I think he's just that much of a competitor, very similar to what we always hear with Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, those guys in that upper echelon of competitors. Um, Feels like pretty much if you roll the ball out in front of LeBron and say this could be a legacy defining thing, he just got something in his brain that he's able to flip and his body follows it. The guy is, there's nothing that I can say that will or won't change your opinion on him. He's the most polarizing player in basketball. In my opinion, he's the best basketball player or best player to ever touch a basketball. The guy's ridiculous. And so I think I'm going to flip my official pick. I'm going to go Indiana, Los Angeles. And I think that would be a really, really, really fun matchup for the first ever in-season tournament finals. Moving on from the in-season tournament, though, this is the NBA midweek check-in. That was the bulk of the NBA. There are two games I think you guys should keep up with tonight, and a lackluster slate that I mentioned earlier. It's not the best games tonight. Not every week in the NBA is going to be, a contending team matchup, and whatever it may be. Not a lot of hype surrounding it. But if you're a basketball junkie like me and you care about certain things, I think there's some good games tonight. The two ones I'm going to watch: one Western Conference, one Eastern Conference. One that I want to keep up with, I should say, maybe not fully watch, because I am have a lot to. I do have a lot to film. Nuggets, Clippers. Clippers have played a lot better this past stretch of games with James Harden being in there. Obviously, it was a rocky start. People were throwing memes around different things like that, but they've played a lot better. Jamal Murray has been reinserted into that lineup the past couple of games for the Nuggets. Obviously, I'm going to take the Nuggets just because they have been the most consistent team this year. They've had a couple of weird losses. They've played really well without Jamal Murray. That is something that I think if you told me at the beginning of the season they would be a stretch without him, I think they would lose more than they would win. They didn't. They played really well. And so when you've got Jokic, you've got a chance. I think it's kind of turning into that. That's how good of a player he is. I'm going to take the Nuggets in that matchup, but I still think it's going to be a good game. In the Eastern Conference, we got the Hawks and Nets. These two teams are very fun offensive teams. Not much defense will be played in this matchup. We know that for sure. Two younger teams that are still trying to, I should say, one younger team in the Nets who's still trying to figure out what their identity is. They're very much similar to the Nets team before the Kyrie, KD, and James Harden stuff that went on there. They kind of just reverted back to that fun, athletic, small, young team. And so, yeah, I think that the Nets come out of this with the win. Obviously, with the Hawks, they are on the younger side. I feel like they're just a little bit older than the Nets. I could be wrong. But just that feeling that you get, they just look a bit more sluggish than the Nets, even though they're very good on the offensive side of the ball. Trae Young, that's his specialty. DeJounte Murray, that is also his specialty. I don't know how much I believe in the Hawks. I believe they're 9-10 right now. We'll have to see as the season plays out. They've been a very mediocre team. The stat about them being, through 10 games, they're 5-5. Through 20 games, they're 10-10. It happened last year. It's happening this year. They probably win tonight and go 10-10. It's kind of crazy how mediocre they are. But yeah, they're still good on the offensive side of the ball. I'm personally going to take the Nets tonight. So those are my two games to watch for tonight. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode of the NBA Midweek Check-In. Keep up with the other content. Make sure if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you're seeing this video, make sure you hit the description button down below and get all of the links. Follow me on all social media. Leave a comment on some of the things I talked about tonight, whether you think I'm wrong, whether you think I'm right. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.